Welcome to our new podcast, Stacked After Hours. I'm joined with
Ethan, me, you know the one.
Oh no, yeah, it's me. Y'all know who I am, right? Yeah.
As you can tell, this is a very casual, laid back podcast. We took the cool movies persona to heart, and this is and this is gonna be a podcast where we kind of just chill and talk. This is gonna be a mixture of film, our lives, just kind of what's going on with news. I don't know, whatever we want to talk about.
And we'll just make these whenever we want, It's not gonna be like a scheduled thing. We're just gonna be like, yo, let's get together, let's talk about something. And if we have something big to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not with a constraint here. There's no script, there's no structure. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of structure, but
fun fact, usually all episodes are scripted. Like we wrote out the entire podcast before we record them.
Yeah.
Every
joke. There's no improv.
No improv. I'm very strict on that.
So. Yeah, if we improv, Ethan hits us.
Yeah, even when Brandon's in Arizona, I go over to his house and smack him on the forehead.
Yeah, it hurts, but I kind of like it. Anyway, on today's episode, well, before we get started, actually, I wanted to ask you guys what you've been watching this week.
Yeah.
What we got here?
What do we got here? Well, I've been talking about this a lot for past couple days. I haven't been shutting up about it, but I just finished Neon Genesis Evangelion, on Saturday, and boy, what a show! What an anime! What a film! It's
a film, huh?
The finale is a film. And it's one of the greatest films I've ever seen in my fucking life. I'll tell you that. It shot up into my top 20. If you didn't see that on Twitter,
I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have many expectations going into it when I started, because I was just like, oh, it's just it's a iconic 90s anime, so I sort of knew what to expect going in. It's a mech battle anime. I'm just like, okay, it's just gonna be a fun time of giant robots fighting giant monsters, but it is so much more when you talk about the subtext of the creator and how he made this show because he was feeling suicidal, and the themes that it explores of loneliness, of self-worth, and of nihilism, and finding a place in just really just the cosmic world. It's insane. And the end of Eva movie is it explores that dialed up to 11, and I have never had a more visceral experience in my fucking life than watching that movie. It's imagine Pacific Rim meets the ending of 2001 meets let's see, what's something religious, what's a really big Jesus?
First Reformed.
Yeah. No, that's actually good.
First okay.
Reformed. So combine those movies, and that's End of Evangelion. And
is it good?
Yes, it is so good. But you unfortunately, you have to, not unfortunately, because the show's good, but it's not as good as the movie. You have to watch the whole show to actually understand what the hell is going on.
Is it only good because it pays off, or is it good because the story is genuinely better than
because it's like watching it's like the Avengers Endgame of Evangelion, those character arcs in that movie would be aren't anything without the context of the Avengers, so you have to see how these characters have developed to see how the story concludes, and it's none of the characters are really likable protagonists in the show, which is crazy. They're all these super flawed humans, and it just gets more and more fucked up at the end. And it's basically just telling you that you are your own individual person. What makes you special is your hands, your eyes, your body is yours, and that's why you should keep living, because no one else is like you. And don't be like these people, because these people do fucked up things, and
sounds like Lego Movie.
It kind of sounds like Jonah, a VeggieTales movie. You guys seen that?
Yes,
it's kind of okay, so it's like Pacific Rim 2001, Jonah the VeggieTales movie, The Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, First Reformed. That's Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That sounds so insane. I don't know if that clashes or anything, but it sounds good.
But it's all on Netflix.
It's all on Netflix. Yeah, I need to check it out. Chris, what have you got?
I'll be completely honest, as I am embarrassed, kind of ish, to say, I haven't seen a movie in quite some time.
Well,
what's wrong with you?
Give yourself some credit here. Instead of watching movies, you've been making movies.
Yeah, so I'll try and keep it brief, but this weekend and the weekend before, I was busy hard at work with shooting the senior thesis project for our very good friend Joey Jordan. It's his big senior thesis film, which has been in the works technically since sophomore year.
Yeah.
Now, and of course that's huge, and there was a lot of moving parts, so a lot of my time and energy had to be dedicated to that. But that's off my hands for the time being because we have wrapped production, and up until we get up to the coloring phase, I won't be involved with the production up until then. So I'm excited to get back on the bandwagon. And with Christmas break coming around, finals out of the way, it's time for me, just some me time, and movies are a great companion for that.
Do you know what you're gonna be watching? Have you planned anything out? Something that you're looking forward to at least?
That's interesting. I'm thinking I'll want to catch up on maybe a couple of films from 2020 that I just missed. For example, I haven't seen Mank yet, and I hear all this discourse about it where it's is it good? Is it bad? It's kind of eh.
It's a movie.
It is a movie. It's a fiction movie. So, I want to see that. And of course, the Christmas season, I want to check out some Christmas movies. I'm going to revisit Home Alone. Of course, that's a classic for me. Jingle All the Way by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fantastic.
Give me that Stretch Armstrong, baby.
Yeah, and that's about it. I mean, I'm trying to enjoy myself for the end of 2020 and hopefully cap off on a good bookend.
I gotta talk about Buddy Bot because
oh yeah,
because I was on set for one day, and let me just tell you, I don't think I only talked to you during lunch. Really.
Yeah.
Because dude,
our departments were completely separated.
They're completely separate, but you worked your fucking ass off that day.
Oh.
And if that day was that day there was some stuff that went down that day, that made your life a bit more difficult. But dude, yeah, there's justifiably so why you didn't watch movies, because you were working so hard on that, and I can't wait for the movie to come out. It's gonna be so cool.
Thank you, man, and I'm glad you got to be involved. At least a little bit. I mean that's always the way with you, Ethan, isn't it? You always get on for one set. Once a year you go on one set. It's always a fucking disaster. Maybe you're the curse.
I've never worked on a movie set for more than one day. I'm always brought on last minute to something, and I do my job and I leave. What can I say,
That's one way to put it.
Hey, no one picks up lunch better than Ethan. I'll say that.
Yeah, we had canes for lunch. And
I know. Yeah, of course it was the one day that you were there. We had canes.
Yeah.
I wish I had canes.
Isn't there a canes 15 minutes from you? I mean, I know it's unsafe
it's
right
expensive
now,
and I can't go there.
Yeah.
Canes I mean, in terms of fast food, Canes is pretty reasonable.
I disagree. Jack in the Box is reasonable. Don't have an I disagree counter on this show. Don't even put the effort.
I'm not counting this. What have you been doing, Brandon?
Yeah, how about you, Brandon?
I mean, I got COVID.
Oh yeah, I don't think we've mentioned that. This is
the COVID reveal.
Yeah, I think we've hinted that Brandon's not feeling great, but I don't think we've ever explicitly said, "Hey, here's what happened to Brandon."
And why he's in Arizona right now.
And
stewing away.
We've recorded 3 episodes with Brandon having COVID, and now boom, at the end, big reveal.
At the end of it all.
Because now you're coming through it. You're at the other side of that COVID tunnel.
I can smell now. I'm no longer Dewey Cox. I have regained my sense of smell. It was a moderate case. It wasn't like I was in a hospital or anything, but we had some symptoms that weren't so good in my family. It wasn't because my family wasn't social distancing. It was because my mom works, and obviously when I came home for the holidays, I knew there was a risk, and I got it. But as a result, I did have a little more time on my hands, especially near the back end when I was feeling much better, to watch more movies. And I even started a television show. I've been telling Ethan about it. I don't know if Chris knows, but I've been watching The West Wing on Netflix. It's moving over to HBO Max soon, but it's basically a show about like these White House staffers in a Democratic presidency, um, but who wasn't like it's not a story like where they get to do everything they want. It is like a really realistic portrayals of like of Washington politics and such.
Mm-hmm.
There are points where it's like a little too cold or a little too overly sentimental, but it's really interesting to watch, like seeing where we're at today, and especially the last 4 years. It's such a refreshing pace to see the work being done properly in in terms of like actual plot lines and how they deal with foreign crises. And I think there's like an episode where they're dealing with like an outbreak. It's not like a pandemic, but it's like an outbreak of something, and they need to stop it. And I was like, I took great catharsis in watching it.
Yeah.
And then also, like Chris, I've been trying to catch up on 2020 movies. So I watched the 2020 acclaimed film Jingle Jangle with Ethan for a movie night,
Yeah.
which wasn't that good, but it was a beautiful movie to look at. I'll say that much. But I also watched one of my favorite movies of the year so far, Freaky, a slasher movie starring Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton, where it's kind of like a Freaky Friday situation where the killer and the final girl switch bodies. And I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, even though I like Christopher Landon's Happy Death Day movies that he did, as well as slasher movies, as we've talked about on the podcast before. But it's absolutely insane. Like, the kills in this movie are some of the best slasher kills we've had in like 20 years. I'm not even joking. I don't know if Chris has noticed, like, we're both slasher fans, and the kills in recent years have gotten more tame and boring. They're
Yeah,
not bad movies.
it's just kind of like they've like, even if as brutal as they may be, like there isn't that level of creativity that you once had with like the early Nightmare films, or maybe some of the Saw stuff is still good, but like generally it doesn't have that grunge and grit and extravagant creativity in a weird way to it.
Right, and it's not like really gory anymore. I'm not saying they should always be that way, but I was just caught off guard because it was billed as a horror comedy, so I expected something a little lighter. And at times it did get really dark, you know? But it's really well tonally balanced, and I really recommend you guys renting it or checking it out online. Other than that, I watched Mank, wasn't too moved by that. And Another Round, this Thomas Vinterberg movie.
I want to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I know
It's
my
like
parents will want to watch it during the winter break, so I'm saving it for them.
totally recommend renting it. I don't know, Chris, do you know what it's about?
No.
Okay. So this is from the guy who did The Celebration, that movie we watched freshman year.
Is that the what's the word? Dogma film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where like the family is dealing with crises like every which way at this like family get together and wedding, I think. Or it's a birthday, the father's birthday.
It's the dad's birthday, yeah.
Right.
All this shit comes out about him.
Yeah, exactly. So you already know the drama in this film is going to be insane because it's a midlife crisis movie about Mads Mikkelsen's character and his friends trying to always hold a low level of intoxication, like always be a little bit drunk, because there's this theory that humans are born with like 5% less alcohol in their system than they need, and that they operate best with like 5% alcohol in them or something. And it's pretty interesting because it's a comedy, but it has really good drama to it, but it's not too overly melodramatic, and it's not like The Way Back, which came out with Ben Affleck earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
Where that movie had Ben Affleck like, oh, you want to see he's an alcoholic? Let me see him drinking in the shower, going through a whole case of beer in one night, drinking on the job and pouring it into a water bottle. It's like, we get it, you know? But yeah, that's kind of what I've been watching.
This is kind of random, but like lately, okay, I don't know why. Maybe it's because, okay, so when kind of a throwback. We all watched Tenet together, and I think
Yeah.
I would say our general impressions of it were okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like kind of lukewarm, not cold,
It's an
but kind of
original
just
movie.
like yeah, very original and very interesting. And my rating of that film has not changed from, I think I gave it 3 or 2.5, something like that.
I just looking at it. We both gave it 3. Brandon gave it 2.5.
Okay.
Joey and Tori gave it 1.
Okay. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because lately I've just been pondering that film a lot more.
Yeah.
And like thinking about like, okay, let's try and piece this together a bit better and like try and understand its like philosophy on time, space, entropy, physics, all that. And as we all know, Nolan is kind of a fucking crazy motherfucker when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, I've been trying to like piece it together, and this is easily the most difficult time I've ever spent with trying to grasp a Nolan film, because normally like they kind of come to me kind of quickly. Like the Dark Knight stuff is generally very easy. Dunkirk came to me pretty fast. I think the ones that took me the longest were actually no, Inception was not that bad for me. It was Memento and Interstellar that took me a second. But this one has kind of been puzzling me forever, and I'm starting, as I've like studied it a bit more, just like reading stuff about it and like trying to understand like what his like physics whatever was doing. Like I don't necessarily think it makes it a better movie, but it does make it a more interesting film to talk about and to study, because it's almost like, it's very rare that I think we see in films where like physics and philosophy are so integrated into its narrative. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that.
I think there's been a revived conversation around the film recently, because I think it came out on VOD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't want to go see it at a drive-in like we did. So I think there's that revived conversation. I think the really interesting thing about Nolan's movies, I'm not the biggest Nolan fan. I like him, but I'm not like a fanboy online who likes all of his movies. But
yeah, me neither.
But the thing I really like about him is he does use like real science when he, like Interstellar, for example, the way he crafted the black hole and like the way he like explained the time travel in the film and physics was really interesting. Yeah. And the same goes for, I think, Inception a little bit, with like dream studies and such, as to like what dreams actually entail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Inception as much as everybody else is. But that's the thing. But now I feel fucking stupid, because I didn't get Dunkirk when I watched it, but I got a Memento immediately. Like I didn't get the time was split up. Like
but like, I feel like Dunkirk is so much more straightforward.
When I first watched it, I was like, why is like, I know it's like one of his most straightforward movies, but it's like, when I first watched the movie, I didn't understand that he wasn't telling a linear story. With 3 different like plot like
3 different points in time.
Yeah, and that they were all converging on one another. And I still don't love the movie, but like when I first watched it, I was like, what the fuck is happening? But with Memento, I walked in, I was like, yeah, I get this movie. I know it's going backwards. I got it the first fucking time, but everybody's like, oh, I don't get Memento. And I'm like, why did I get this one but not that one?
Well, to be fair for Memento, like the thing that everyone talks about Memento is that it's going backwards. So you probably because that's, I
prepared myself.
You probably prepared yourself for that, right? And then you saw Dunkirk in theaters and you had no expectations.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, what a good transition, talking about Tenet and Nolan
Warner Brothers.
Brandon, do you want to break it down? What we're talking about today?
Absolutely. So our first topic of the day is HBO Max. As people know, Warner Brothers announced that a bunch of the films in their catalog that are coming out, I think it's all of them actually, for 2021, are all going to be released simultaneously on HBO Max, as they were supposed to be in theaters. And this has a lot of people upset, and a lot of people happy and excited, because this means they're going to be able to see movies from home immediately without paying that premium price, that $60 they were talking about years ago when they were thinking about doing this instantaneous release format. They're just going to release it directly on the streaming service. So the films that are there, the notable ones at least, are going to be Wonder Woman 1984, Godzilla vs. Kong, Dune, Conjuring 3, The Suicide Squad, and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Notice how I didn't say The Matrix 4. Anyway.
Oh,
Zenga! Wah. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is a bad thing? How do you overall feel about this? We all know how Nolan and Denis feel.
Yeah, I think it very much like it's a situation where you have to weigh out the pros and cons and figure out what is more meaningful to you as someone who maybe consumes film, as a filmmaker, or like where as a person, how does this affect you, and which option is more valuable to you? Because there are like very genuine cons to this, and I'm a very optimistic person, but I am kind of leaning towards the con side of things. But there are some benefits to what's happening here, and I think they are still worth acknowledging, even though I might not think they are as valuable as what we're losing in the process. But yeah, let's open up this discussion.
I've been thinking about this, and I read Denis' letter. Have you guys read that about like?
I read the title of the article that introduced it. I didn't read. I know he's enraged about it, though.
He's very angry, and I think he brings up some great points, but I also think he kind of like sort of solves his own problems in that letter, where so he talks about how people desire the need for a communal experience in watching movies, and I 100% believe in that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I have faith that things will go back to normal when it's safe, because there's something about the movie theater that is like, it's like, you know, it's like the public library or a museum, you know, like that shit will never go away now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think movie theaters, like people, that's a cultural thing. People use the movie theaters to go hang out with friends, to go on a date, you know, to go celebrate birthdays, to, you know, to anything like that, you know, like there's not really gonna be a substitute like for that. Like, you know, when people on, like, if someone goes on a date with with someone else, and they're not gonna be like, hey, come to my house and let's watch something on HBO Max for a first date, you know. They'll be like, no, I'm not gonna go to your fucking house. Like, it's
a neutral space.
Yeah, a movie theater is a neutral space, which is good for stuff like that. Like, we're inherently social creatures, and we need like things like that where we can all participate in a shared experience in art, you know.
Yeah.
It's like ingrained into our culture at this point.
Yeah, and Denis thinks that if this thing goes forward, then that's going to be gone. But I disagree, where I think no, I think Warner Brothers will do this, and people are expecting that everyone's just going to say, oh, no, I'm never going to the theater again. I bet people will go to the theater less, you know? I think my biggest concern with this is that sort of the gap between blockbusters and indies are going to go further apart. I think blockbusters are going to make more money in the theaters, you know, and indies are going to make less, you know. I think that gap is going to widen because of streaming. Because me personally, like, say Godzilla 4 comes out, you know, and HBO Max is still doing this thing where that movie will be released in theaters and on streaming the same day. I will be like, okay, I'm definitely seeing that in theaters because I love Godzilla, you know. But say some other film directed by
Daddy's Home 3.
I'll never see Daddy's Home 3. Come on, give me like give me a mid-tier director. What's a mid-tier director?
Fuck.
The Coen brothers are kind of mid, right?
Coen brothers, I'll see them
for like middle budget.
Barry Jenkins. I don't know.
Barry Jenkins.
Just an example.
Okay, the new Barry Jenkins movie. Yeah, maybe those guys are up and coming. Okay, maybe just a movie I know nothing about, you know, and maybe there's like a time where I just feel like, hey, I'll just watch that at home. I don't really feel like going out, you know.
It's like those casual films, I suppose. Yeah.
The more casual films, I'll stay at home see, but there'll be more event films, you know. I feel like those will be. I'll always go to the theater for those, but some of this more casual stuff, like this year I've kind of enjoyed like seeing movies like let's see, what do we got? The Fourth Trip movie, Palm Springs. You know, I
Mhm.
don't. Would we have seen Palm Springs in theaters? I don't know.
I
We
would have.
probably we probably would have because
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but other unknown stuff like Blow the Man Down, we watched that. I don't think I would have seen that in theaters. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but we discovered a pretty good movie that's on Amazon Prime. Not because we had to do it for class, but still the point stands. Yeah. In terms of the 2021 slate and what I want to see, I mean, I'm not going to the theater until I have that vaccine. You know, so if I don't have it by the time Godzilla versus Kong comes out, sorry, not gonna go see it in theaters. By the time if I don't have it by Dune or Suicide Squad, sorry, not gonna see it. But those three, Godzilla, Suicide Squad, and Dune, like I really want to see them in theaters, and I hope I
Yeah.
have the vaccine. You know.
Yeah. I
I
think
have I have nature's vaccine.
Oh,
For
yeah,
the
go
next
ahead and
3
brag
months.
about it, buddy.
yeah. I think you were talking about like the theater experience and like the quote unquote sanctity of that experience of us as a culture. And that's definitely like one of, if not the most important thing I think a lot of people are concerned about. But I know I'm sure like a lot of people, I think us included, are very much like attached to the experience of the theater on a theatrical level in the sense of the image, the sound.
Yeah.
I remember when we all watched Empire Strikes Back again together. I don't know about you guys, but when that speaker turned on and that image on the big screen came on, like I felt there was a reaction to that could not ever be replicated by whatever size TV I have in my home. And like, there's something special about the lights dimming, the smell of popcorn, the soda, everything. And just like, I don't know. And you were also talking about like these like smaller films that, are more casual and like you might not necessarily like go to the theater. Like for example, I think a good example is like say Blockers or Instant Family. Well, these like smaller films that like we just like Brandon and I or like with Ethan or whatever, like, we're just kind of like, hey, we got the night off. You want to go see a movie? And like, yeah, we didn't need to go to the theater to see that. I don't think me seeing Night School in Dolby was
I was
like
just
huge...
gonna say that. I'm not even joking.
Like, yeah, my first Dolby film being Night School starring Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. Like, I wasn't like, that's not an essential theater viewing. But nonetheless, the memory of seeing that in the theater with Brandon, or like when we saw like, I don't know, Instant Family together, like I fucking loved that screening because it was just so fucking funny that we were in a theater watching this movie and just shitting on it. Well, you were shitting on it the entire time.
I feel like everybody was loving it, and then Ethan was like
for me.
Except
like
for
I said
Ethan,
on Stacked,
right?
I walked into a glitch in the Matrix. I felt like.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, okay, like take for example a movie like Ugly Dolls or Breakthrough. You bet your ass off if like we would we would not go see that in theaters.
I don't think we would have seen that in streaming either, though. I think
so. The theater
I think
prompts
we went
us
to see it for the experience.
The theater prompts us to see really shitty stuff too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever seen that if I didn't have AMC A-list, though. If I'm going to be honest.
I do feel that. Yeah, I think the A-list subscription has also prompted me to go see more movies a lot more just to take advantage of it.
Also, of going back to Denis Villeneuve, I also think he brought up this great point where he's like, my Dune franchise is ruined because of this. Like, Dune will not make its budget back because of this move. I think
because they moved it. Yeah, they moved the release date.
He won't make the budget back, and and then he's not gonna get a sequel. That's how he fears. And I feel like he's having PTSD from Blade Runner right now, and that's why he's so angry because he's like, this was planned out to be a new franchise. I was starting a new franchise here, and this move basically just killed those dreams. And I agree with him. I don't think Dune's gonna make enough money now to do that.
And Warner Brothers isn't as good of a place that Disney is in right now. Disney has a bunch of assets that they can let go. They have a bunch of assets. They also have like many different areas in which their business operates outside of film.
Yeah.
Which makes it extremely easy for Disney to, which we'll talk about later, announce billions of projects for people to watch and consume in both in theaters and outside of theaters,
Right.
And as much as it's exciting to have like the product instantaneously, like we've talked about, it's a special experience, right? And filmmakers are really worried because, and I think they have a right to be, and I also think they're blowing it out of proportion a little bit, because I do think the mid-sized movie, which has been going out of style for a while now, like the 10-20 million dollar movies that are like big stars, original plots, but not super high concept, are going out of style. Nobody's going to see them. I think there are certain occasions where the right film will attract the right audience, which is why I was extremely upset when I watched Freaky, because I was like, hell, I think that Freaky or Black Bear films that I watched this past week that were 2020 movies might have caught on with a bigger audience had they been in theaters, but I think they're destined now to get buried underneath the vast barrage of like big studio product and small indie films vying for like an Oscar or an award.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's exciting. Like I won't lie, I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman 1984 on Christmas with my family.
Definitely.
They're
amazing.
all exactly. But at the same time, you kind of miss that communal experience. And I mean, I don't know what I really want to see from their slate. I think actually Wonder Woman 1984 is probably the one I want to watch most, which I think says more about Warner Brothers slate than it says about my taste in film. But I don't know.
I think they got some good ones.
I'm not really interested in the Space Jam sequel. I'll watch it, but
Yeah, me neither. Mortal Kombat might be cool. I like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I had no idea that movie was coming out until they showed that poster the other day. I was like, what? When did they make this movie?
It's got a pretty good cast. I forgot who's in it, but I remember when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, they got some good players.
But yeah, there's stuff that I want to see. Chris, have you looked at their slate of what they're releasing?
Is this
This is the HBO Max.
Yeah, HBO Max like slate hand. Let me check. Let me have a look. Because let's see.
Like, what would you watch in theaters, and what would you watch at home?
Yeah, while Chris is looking at that, can I just make a point? Like,
go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know if most of these are going to come out on HBO Max now. If I'm going to be completely honest, there's been a lot of disputes between Warner Brothers is currently being sued by Legendary because of this. Because basically Warner Brothers, because since they're the distributors, Legendary, for Godzilla vs. Kong, they originally wanted to sell it to Netflix for $200 million. But now what Warner Brothers basically did is they sold the film to Warner Max, which means they basically sold the distribution rights to themselves without Legendary's approval, which is why Timothée Chalamet wore the Legendary sweatshirt on SNL. Did you see that?
I did not. I mean, I watched the episode, but I didn't. I wasn't paying attention.
So like films like Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong being distributed by Legendary, and now those actors are not getting the same deal in the contracts in their contracts, because there's like a certain thing of like, if this movie makes a certain amount of money in theaters, and that's how much money you get, but now since it's streaming, they're gonna make less money, and they're kind of pissed about that, so I think the talent agencies are suing Warner Brothers right now, and Legendary, the distributing companies, are going to sue Warner Brothers because of this. So it's either Warner Brothers is going to lose a lot of money in those lawsuits, and change their contracts with their actors, or they're just going to release them in theaters a la Tenet and just still make less money. I don't know. It's going to be.
It's a lose-lose, right?
I think so.
I mean, like, they're taking away the free trial option, so that which is really smart.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea in terms of like maximizing your profit, but at the same time, it costs less for a movie ticket. And I know they get like 90% of movie ticket cost revenue. Yeah. They get 100% of their streaming revenue, but it's not as expensive for an HBO Max account as a movie ticket, I don't think.
It's $15 a month, right?
Right.
15. In California, that's $2 more than a ticket in California.
Right, exactly. So they're making maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It just depends on how many people have signed up for HBO Max. I know a lot of people who have, but I mean, it is what it is. What we're gonna do about it, I don't know. Consume the content anyway in whatever form it comes in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to their mid-level movie In the Heights by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of him, but I love musicals.
Mhm.
I was not a big fan of Hamilton. I think it's overrated. But yeah, In the Heights looks good. Not the Tom and Jerry
Hamilton.
movie. No, I'll watch the Tom and Jerry movie. Who cares?
I want to watch the Tom and Jerry movie.
Yeah,
dude.
I just had a
I
look
hope
at their
it.
slate, and
Yeah.
I think the ones I'm most excited for are Dune,
Yep.
Suicide Squad, 1980, Wonder Woman 1984, and Wonder Woman 1984. Godzilla and Kong, I'm definitely gonna see because it's Godzilla versus Kong.
Hell yeah.
Space Jam 2, I'll see it. I'm more of a Looney Tunes Strikes Back kind of guy.
This I know.
Looney Tunes back in action?
Yeah, back in action, not Strikes Back, sorry. Judas and the Black Messiah also looks really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that the
Daniel Kaluuya movie?
Daniel Kaluuya. Isn't Lakeith Stanfield also in that?
Lakeith's in it, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be awesome. In the Heights, I'm also excited for. Frankly, I've never heard of the other ones. Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh,
Thing about
yeah.
with me for the Conjuring is like I've only ever liked the James Wan ones.
Oh yeah, but I heard that he was on set a lot for this one. So
yeah, so hopefully
We'll see.
his voice comes through more, but like I hope. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a
We'll
weird
see.
time for the movie industry.
Well, we mentioned Disney earlier,
Yeah.
and about a week and a half ago, I think it was a week and a half ago, right?
Something like
Let's
that.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. They announced at their investor day one of the biggest slates of content
Ever.
I have ever seen a big studio announce at once.
Same.
Yeah.
We thought remember when they announced Phase 3, they announced like 8 movies. We thought that was
Yeah.
huge.
We're like,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because big studios don't do that. They'll have days
Yeah.
where they release dates, and then they'll usually announce movies like one by one.
Yeah.
For like when they're coming out, and yeah, you get one press release at a time. But because the news has been so slow this year because of COVID and because the entertainment industry literally shut down for like 2 to 3 months, Disney held back a lot. And we know they've been working on stuff because they had bought 20th Century Studios, now 20th Century Studios, a year ago. And we knew that they had the properties. We just didn't know what they were going to do with them or how it would kind of pan out. And they just announced a fucking wave of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff on here that I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was like not invested in this investor day. I was like, yeah, whatever, we'll see what comes. And then on Twitter, like every few minutes I'd scroll on like a day where I was like bored in class or something, and I'd find stuff and I'd be like, what? They're making this? And at first it was like kind of like, wow, this is so terrible. Look at all the shit that they're pumping out that doesn't look good. And then I was like, but this is from like filmmakers who are like not used to making films, young filmmakers, minority filmmakers, women filmmakers, and that made me really happy. And then they like started to announce projects I actually cared about, like, and the vast majority of it, the wealth of that came from just IP. And I feel bad because I want to support original movies.
Yeah.
But IP that like I've grown up with is very hard to look away from and say it's corporate, because Disney has made such good product over the years. Sure, I don't like Rise of Skywalker that much.
Right.
I think it's bad.
But Mandalorian season 2?
But Mandalorian season 2 is pretty good so far.
Yeah.
We're watching the season finale tonight.
Yeah. But Brandon, I totally feel what you mean. Like I much like you, like would love to be able to just kind of like denounce Disney from my life and just push them away and like, focus myself on indie films and whatnot. Cause I love indie films and stuff like that. And, like smaller filmmakers and whatnot. But at the same time, like, the little kid in me that always wanted to be Iron Man or whatever can't help but feel excited to see a Marvel movie or to see a Star Wars movie where, lightsabers and shit. Because as a kid, that's all I ever dreamed about. Like, and we were talk. I think we talked about this briefly on like one of like on actual Stacked, but like how you know because of how positive of an experience that those films bring us, at least on a personal level. I know there's a lot of like political shit going on with that, but like it gives me and like the people I love like such a happy place to and a happy thing to consume that I almost feel like I shouldn't have to apologize for loving something that makes me and so many other people in the world happy.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah, it's a
I
weird thing.
I do think nostalgia is a big problem that's going on in pop culture right now. Just because I feel like because of social media and everything, I feel like there is such a desire for escapism and
Hmm.
sort of going back to a time that we thought was simpler. I mean, Jesus Christ, we had a politician fucking brainwash an entire half of the country with this sort of faux nostalgia and making something great like it was back then, even though it wasn't, like.
Mm-hmm.
But people are just, they're so desire, they crave to have things go back to the way it was before when they were just kids. That's basically it. They want to feel like they were a kid again.
Do
Do
you
you
remember
remember
when
when
you
you were a
were a kid?
kid?
No,
No, I really don't.
I
But
blacked out.
but I feel like it is a big problem. But
It's
but
so hard.
I don't feel like it's a big problem for us because I feel like we are very well-minded individuals, especially when it comes to film, because of our education.
We don't
Not
just watch
we don't just watch
Corpo.
Marvel movies. Like I'm worried about the people who see 2 to 3 movies a month, you know, being brainwashed by nostalgia and using their money to make those decisions, as opposed to
Right.
us who watch a movie literally every day. We love every scale of budget. We love the biggest budgets and we love the smallest budgets.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So we will be there to support every indie film that deserves support, and we will be there for the big stuff that's good, because guess what, it's good and we like it, and there's not much else to say. We had fun. I don't
Yeah.
know, but going back to this Disney investor thing, I find it so funny that now they're just like, yeah, this is this has always been an investor meeting. Every time we've announced something, it's been an investor meeting. So now they're just cutting the
Yeah.
bullshit. It's like, it's not like D23, the big event for the fans, or Comic-Con, It's just like, no, we're gonna just cut to the chase, guys. We're announcing this because we need people to be confident that we'll
Yeah.
make money.
Like
We need our investors to be confident.
come buy our shares is basically
Yeah.
what they're saying.
I think that
Exactly.
this is a low risk thing for them, right?
Yeah.
They're like, if they spend as much money on as much content as possible, one of these ideas is bound to succeed. Essentially, they're playing the probability, the odds right now, right? And I mean, going through their presentation, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in there. I don't know
Really
if you guys
exciting
want to.
stuff.
There, there's some FX shows that I'm really excited about because now they own FX. I don't know if you guys looked up any of that, but they've
I
got
haven't.
this. Okay, well, they've got a Shogun show, which is like based on a book about samurai coming out.
Ooh.
They've got an apocalypse show that's been in the works from the guy who did 10 Cloverfield Lane for a long time. It's
Oh,
called
shit.
Why the Last Man.
That's based off a graphic novel.
Right, which is
I've
based
heard it's one of the best. So
Ex-
I really want to read that one before I see it.
right, and it's got monkeys in it, or a monkey in it. So you're
It's
gonna
got a
like
monkey and it's the only 2 males on that planet anymore is that dude and that monkey. So
it, basically. But like then I think the last product that they announced was probably the most exciting for most people because everybody was like, "What are they gonna do with this property?" When Disney got it, they were like, "This was one
Oh,
of the rated R properties
Oh.
that they
now
didn't know
this
how to."
one I know, and I am so excited. Yeah, tell us
It's
about it.
Noah Hawley's Alien series,
Yes. Oh,
and I don't know what this is gonna be or how this is gonna look, or is this gonna be like Covenant, or is this gonna be more like Ridley Scott's old Aliens? And I know he's involved with this somewhat. But like, how do you make a show surrounding Alien? Do you do practical effects or do you do CGI? Does it look cinematic? I don't know.
I think because it's Disney and like what they've learned from Star Wars, you know, where they know that people value the practicality of it, and I think they will acknowledge that with the Alien series. Like, what makes those first two films so fucking amazing is how tangible those sets and those alien costumes were, you know? That's what made it so scary in the first place. And Noah Hawley, he's probably one of the greatest modern TV makers out there right now, you know?
He did Legion.
He did Legion, did he do The Leftovers, or was that Damon Lindelof? Him and David Lindelof, I feel like those are the two all-stars of TV right now. When you say their names, you're just like, oh, they're gonna make some really like thought-provoking, interesting stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love to see that he's involved with something like Alien. I'm so excited.
Chris, had you heard about this series yet?
I mean, all I've heard is that they are producing a Alien series, and like, I don't know. Like you said, Brandon, like, I feel like Alien is one of those properties that I think has such a distinct visual look and such a distinct style, like, you know, just as a franchise that, you know, it can be very intimidating to, you know, bring that into a new era. But then again, Disney being Disney and having as much money as they do, and them, at least on that end of things, doing very well with what they did with Star Wars, like, you know, the props and all that, like, they still do that. The production value and the way in which it's crafted is always top notch because it's Disney. They have the money to pay the best people in the world to make these things happen. So I'm not concerned on that end. I think it's just like, I've never imagined Alien in a TV show format. Yeah. But then again, there was a time where I never thought Star Wars would be in a TV show format. And
exactly,
I love Clone Wars. I love Mandalorian. So, you know, like, they have my faith. Mm-hmm. I just hope they do it as well as they did honestly, with their other stuff.
If they take care of their television like they take care of their theme parks, like, for example, if you go to Disneyland, right, they've got animatronics that they're not like Universal. I've never been to Universal, but I know a lot of people who prefer Disneyland because it's got a lot of physical sets. Like, if you go on Rise of the Resistance, that is one of the most involving rides I've ever been on. Yeah. And it's addictive how much that is, like, fun to ride. And that's because it's got, like, physical sets. It's got animatronics. Yeah.
You could stare at a box for an hour and it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wow, it's like real. Yeah.
And it's not even on the ride yet. And you're like, wow, what is this?
No, yeah. Like, and Brandon, when you took me on that ride.
Indication.
Yeah. When you took me on that ride, I was entertained by the line. I was like looking like, wow, this lighting's dope. Like, wow.
And then you get on the ride and you're like, oh, this is the ride. But, like, if that's any indication of anything, it's that they will spend money on, like, the minutia, the practical effects, like they do on The Mandalorian. Although they're even up in the special effects budget on that. It doesn't look like a typical TV show where it's like, this is obvious. You know how, like, on early or late Star Trek, when graphics first came around, I don't know if you guys have watched late Star Trek, but, like, if you watch Enterprise, the CGI does not look good. It looks very TV. Or if you watched sci-fi channel shows, it's very obvious. But it wasn't until, like,
the CW Arrowverse shows, and those are like, oh Jesus, like,
exactly.
Those are now like the definition of superhero TV in the negative way, you know. Yeah. But now, because of all these what we're gonna talk about later on, it's like, okay, Disney, like, they know that just because it's a shorter format, they know they have to deliver the same amount of quality as a cinematic experience, you know?
Yeah. I think that's, like, the interesting thing about that is, for many years, ever since TV pretty much came out, there's always been such a fine delineation between the cinema and television.
Yeah.
And that goes down to even the look. There was a time where it was like, TV has a look. It has, like, a flatter image or something. And as time has gone on, especially in more recent years, with the advancement of technology and, you know, just, like, the ease at which people, at least relatively now, can produce these larger than life images, we're starting to see a breakdown of the TV look. You know, you have shows now with, like, I don't know, so many different shows now that just have this quality to them that you would had at a time only ever thought would be reserved for the cinema. So whether that be Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Walking Dead, Mandalorian, there was a time where that look was like, oh yeah, I only see this in a movie theater or on a film. Like I never see this on TV.
Yeah.
But here we are, just we're in the 2020, and it's like that line has been cut down the middle, and we're in a place now where we'll be able to view television and film as perhaps a more cohesive singular medium of art and entertainment. I don't know if I would go that far to describe to unite them in that way, but in more ways than ever, I feel like now TV and film are starting to unify.
Yeah.
So
we've talked about this so many times in class.
Yeah.
And we talked about a little bit we recorded a little podcast for you, but with video games,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see how we start differentiating between TV and movies. For me right now, the only thing that I differentiate between TV and movies is, can I log it on Letterboxd or not? That's like, am I gonna watch this? Can I log it on Letterboxd? Oh, I can't. Okay, then it's a TV show. I don't want to. But
yeah.
What's your definition of cinema? Letterboxd.
Oh, we could go in for hours. It's on Letterboxd. You know what?
Yeah.
We should have brought that up in Fury's class. If she's like, guys, talk to me. What is cinema? She's like, it's on Letterboxd. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
They tell me what they.
But I want to say one more thing about the R-rated stuff before we move on.
Yeah.
Okay. I find it weird that they didn't announce. They announced Star Plus, right, for international audiences, which is like the mature section of Disney Plus. But they didn't announce it for the US. I think it's because they are going to in the future fold Hulu into Disney Plus and sort of bring that whole content library into like a whole nother section. And that's
but Hulu's interface sucks.
Yeah, I think they're going to get rid of the Hulu interface and use the Disney Plus interface for the Hulu content, and they'll call it Disney Plus something else, And that's where the R-rated content, that's where we're going to see Logan, Deadpool, all the Alien movies, the Alien show, and all these FX and all these FX and Hulu originals will eventually go here. But I think that's super cool. Because I've been wanting to see these movies on Disney Plus and see them use the 20th Century Studio for big stuff now, because they haven't really been getting their money's worth from it yet. Besides, I think we'll talk about one major announcement with a 20th Century property later on in the podcast. But Brandon, what are we going to talk about next?
I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about any of the other Fox properties they wanted to use. They're doing a Night at the Museum animated movie.
Oh.
They're doing a Diary of a Wimpy Kid animated like the Peanuts movie.
It looks clean.
It looked very clean. I've never seen the characters in color, that world in color before, so that was really interesting. But it had that look of Captain Underpants as well, which I do like.
That is an underrated movie, Captain Underpants. That was
most underrated movie
of all time. But that was I didn't see it in theaters because I thought like
I did.
I was a big fan of Captain Underpants when I was a kid. I was like, oh, they're just gonna dumb it down. Not dumb it down. They're just they're just gonna they're gonna kids movie it, and I didn't want to see it. But no, it was actually really funny when I saw it on Netflix when it like months later, and now I regret not seeing it in theaters.
Well, I did, and I liked it. They're also making an Ice Age movie with the character from. Did you not hear about this, Ethan?
What? They're making a new Ice Age?
Yeah, with Buck Wild as the lead.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
I don't care about that.
But it's gonna come straight to Disney Plus. That's for sure. Probably.
Come on, give me a new Ice Age movie under the creative force of Disney. Get rid of all of these ancillary characters. Like Manny's daughter, she has a new family now. Let's take it back to the three main from the first two movies. Maybe even the possums and Manny's wife and stuff like that, and make something great again. Make Ice Age great again. That's my that's my mindset. Can
you make a hat? Make a hat. Make a fucking hat. Yeah, Disney Plus came out with a lot of original content. There's a Cheaper by the Dozen remake they're doing with a mixed race family, which I find kind of interesting. It would be I really liked those movies as a kid, so it would be nice to see a modern version of that because I think we've been missing that live action family movie. I don't because like I kind of miss seeing movies like that, like live action good family movies.
Instant
Then
Family.
there, yeah, something like Instant Family. It's a good
No,
movie.
please.
They announced a show called The Mysterious Benedict Society, which is based on a book that I read as a kid, and I love that
Okay.
book. So that's I'm really looking forward to. The trailer's really cool.
Is Benedict Wong? Is he starring it? And Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, none. The
What's
Benedict's
another
aren't in it.
Benedict? Benedict Arnold?
The one that committed
Uh,
treason.
Benedict from Animal Crossing, the chicken.
Oh, okay. Yes, he's in
You know,
it.
it's the Mysterious Benedict Society. It's the high society. It's the Illuminati, all run by Benedicts.
I would watch that.
Eggs Benedict is just like a Muppet food of an Eggs Benedict.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then they announced live action remakes that they're doing, some of which I'm excited for, some of which I don't care about at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie, which I think
is that live action?
It's live action mixed with cartoon, so I don't know what they're gonna do. It's not like
so it's
the
gonna be like
Smurfs.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, but it
Mm.
stars John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, and it's done by the guys who did Lonely Island movies, the Pop Star and Palm Springs.
Oh well,
So
I'm fucking hooked then. Bring it
yeah,
on.
exactly.
Those movies are amazing.
And then there's Pinocchio by Robert Zemeckis with Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Whoa. I'm Brandon. We just got to hold you back. I know you have a lot of hot Pinocchio oversaturation takes, dude. I don't think the public is ready for them. I need you to take a sip of water. I know how you feel. So
It's too
just
many.
take a deep breath.
We need one Pinocchio movie. One.
Co-parter hater. I need 30 Pinocchio movies. Okay, I want a Pinocchio verse movie. These are all leading up to a Pinocchio verse movie. You know, where
and then Spider-Man's gonna come in.
There's gonna be a Spider Pinocchio, I heard, in the Pinocchio verse movie. So that's gonna be cool to see.
What else is coming out?
I mean,
Brandon?
it looks cool.
Yeah, what else?
They're doing a David Lowery Peter Pan movie. I love David Lowery. He did Old Man the Gun, Pete's Dragon, Ghost Story. So,
they're doing a Mike Lowry Peter Pan movie.
Mike Lowry
from Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. And then there's Little Mermaid and a prequel to The Lion King. And I could care less about the prequel to The Lion King. I love Barry Jenkins, but
what is he doing?
Yeah, wait,
know, man.
Is it a okay? It's a prequel to the live action version.
So it's gonna be about Mufasa and Scar.
And Scar.
As cubs.
Yes.
I mean,
Why?
cool, but like,
who wants it though?
I mean, like that sounds like it could be a cool story, but it's like I didn't ask, so fuck you.
Academy Award winner Barry Jenkins.
Yeah,
he's making all of these like really important films in the past decade, you know, and
at least he gets paid.
He's gonna get paid.
He's gonna get paid big, but
people look on the bright side of this. This movie's gonna probably suck, but Barry Jenkins is gonna get a payday, and he's gonna get his clout in the business is gonna go up, and that means he's gonna be able to make whatever he wants after this. You know what I'm saying? So
he's gonna pull the
he's gonna pull the game.
Yeah, it's like the Guillermo del Toro card. Like, pull a commercial thing, hit up your indie. Commercial
Pacific Rim, get a Crimson Peak.
That's how Nolan became so big. You know?
Nolan, he did Dark Knight.
Let me do my Batman movies, and then let me do Inception too, and let me do Interstellar, because I did such a good job in these Batman movies, you know?
Yeah, like I think like he has said, like as passionate as he is about the Dark Knight mythos and all that, and God knows I love those movies because, like I acknowledge that Nolan probably would not have taken those movies if it didn't come with the incentive that in the future he might be able to produce something
original
that he from his hardest of hearts wanted to make. Like, I don't think we would have a Dark Knight if he didn't want to make Inception.
Right.
In much the same way we wouldn't have Dark Knight Rises if he didn't want to make Interstellar.
I think a lot of people are like, what happened to our event directors now? Everyone's saying the event director is dying, like the last ones we have are Scorsese, Tarantino, and Nolan, Nolan probably being the newest. And I think people got to look to what Christopher Nolan has done. And like, I'm not talking about the quality of his movies. You can think about the quality of his movies, but you got to respect the hustle that he did, where he got a big studio to notice him, and he
With
played that to
Memento.
his advantage by making something for them that he put his effort into making that thing and making it good. And now he's respected by that studio, and they will let him make whatever he wants. And with the marketing budgets, people will go and see it and hail him as an event director, And I just feel like filmmakers got to learn from him, that, if I make movies, hell, that's my plan.
And I mean, I think that's the evolution of like directors and actors in Hollywood at this point. I remember us talking to our professor Kelly Fury about this. We were talking about because she was like, we've had the death of the movie star, and I don't know if that's true. I just think because she was like, there's all these superhero actors, and I'm like, well, those are the movie stars of today, unfortunately, if you look at it that way, right? Because they do star in a bunch of superhero movies, but like every actor has at this point,
Look at the Tom Holland fans, they will now see Chaos Walking. that movie's entire the only people who are gonna see that are Tom Holland fans. Let's be honest. We know when those reviews come out, it's gonna be a stinker.
But they're also gonna watch Cherry.
They're gonna watch Cherry. They watched that Netflix movie, the
Devil All the Time.
Devil All the Time, yeah.
And that's just these are how these big names are playing the game, and I'm not saying the game is a good game, I'm not saying this Hollywood game is good, but these people they're being smart and they're playing by it, so
yeah. I also do want to say, like, I feel like Hollywood goes through trends like every 10-ish years. And lately, obviously, the biggest trend that we have going on are superheroes. They are the new mythos of our culture. Yeah. Now, there were a time, you go back, you have slashers. Those guys were huge. Chucky, Jason, Freddy, all those guys. Go back even more, you might have the Westerns. There's always these like fads, if you will, that Hollywood goes through where we fall in love with a weird part of our culture. And now we're in the superhero phase. So, you go back and you look at, say, let's take Westerns, for example. Clint Eastwood and John Wayne. They were like legends of their time. And so how, like, is it fair to say that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are equal counterparts to their respective cultures in the same way John Wayne and Clint Eastwood were to theirs?
Right.
I don't know. I think it's like, I don't necessarily think it's definitely different because obviously Disney kind of owns a monopoly over the rest of the film industry at the moment. But at the same time, I don't know if that's the fault of like an actor or anything like that. It's just interesting to see how like that kind of like dynamic has shifted.
Right. Yeah. What were we talking about again? Lion King prequel?
Yeah, we're talking about live action Disney. The last live action thing I wanted to talk about was they're doing an Enchanted 2. And I don't know if you guys like the original Enchanted.
I've seen the original.
I saw it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I had a good time with it.
I was with my mom, so it was nice. It was just pleasant.
But I saw that more as a one-off movie, I don't know. I don't know if there's much more to say.
But here's the thing,
yeah,
it's a mid-budget. It's a mid-level like movie, it doesn't feel like a blockbuster event movie. It just feels like this could be like one of those mid-level movies we don't get a lot. And I know it's a sequel, and I know it probably didn't need to happen, but I would like to see Amy Adams go back to doing something cheery instead of something like, I'm not saying she can't do Hillbilly Elegy, or like, I don't know, American Hustle, or what was that movie she did? Nocturnal Animals. Oh my god. I mean, great movies, mostly.
Arrival.
Yeah, but like so dark. I want to see her do something like overly optimistic again. See that?
Like Enchanted or The Muppets.
Yeah, exactly.
She's really good at playing that cheery persona. I agree.
And this is where we get into like the big stuff. We got the Pixar, and Walt Disney Studio announcements. We all love animation here, especially Pixar and Disney.
Yeah.
They've done some of the best stuff for the past decade. Stuff for adults, stuff for kids. They announced 6 original movies.
Oof.
Technically 5, but
wait, who are we talking here? We're talking Pixar or
Pixar and Disney simultaneously.
okay.
Because they're both animated.
Yeah.
Right.
Pixar announced Soul. Well, obviously Soul's coming to Disney Plus on Christmas.
For Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
what are we
one of
watching
those-
first, boys? Are we watching Soul or Wonder Woman?
I'm watching Soul first.
Let's do Soul first.
I think that's the right way to go, and I think Wonder Woman's good to watch at the end of the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then they have a movie called Luca, which is this Italian Riviera film akin to
Mhm.
Call Me by Your Name, but not. I don't think it's LGBT, but
I mean,
it's the same plot.
They haven't revealed anything. They're just like a boy and his friend spends the summer in Italy, and that's all we know.
But it looks good. The animation looks nice.
Wait,
there's
a trailer for it? I haven't seen
okay.
anything. There's
So-
a concept art, right?
If you watch the Investor Day presentation, they actually showed footage.
Oh.
It wasn't like a trailer, but it was like footage in the background where they were talking about it. It has a very interesting, unique visual style. There's a coming of age movie called Turning Red by Domi Shi, who did Bao, which is this really weird movie where this girl is going through puberty, and essentially every time she gets excited, she turns into a giant red panda. So that's fucking crazy. And then they're doing a Buzz Lightyear movie. But listen, let me break it down. This isn't a prequel to Toy Story. This is a movie about the real Buzz Lightyear.
Right. The character that the toy in Toy Story is based off of. You see what I'm saying?
Whenever I have to like explain that, I just feel so sick inside that like this is what capitalism has come to.
I love it.
You're like, no, it's not a prequel for the toy, the movie in the toy. It's a prequel of the guy that the toy in that movie is based off of. But he's not a real guy. This really isn't a non-fictional movie. It's a fake guy.
We're basically we're basically seeing what Andy watches, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, like what he's like, oh, I want to get a Buzz Lightyear toy. This is what he's watching and what makes him want to buy a Buzz Lightyear toy.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very meta. I can get behind Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. I prefer it to Tim Allen at this point, just because I feel like that's what they're kind of going for. They're going for something more intense, but I'm sure it's going to have that Pixar flavor to it. Like I don't think they're going to
less Republican.
Shut up. And they're going to make it a less like. I don't think it's going to be like an Illumination or a DreamWorks movie. I think it's still going to have a Pixar feel to it. I love the idea just because it's so weird, you know? Like everything
it's
Pixar's
so
doing is weird.
Uncharacteristically Pixar, though.
To do something like that, yeah.
Here's what I'm hoping. So when Buzz Lightyear, like the sort of aesthetic that they've built for Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story universe, like his brand, is like sort of that 60s sci-fi UFO, you know, when you go on the Buzz Lightyear ride, you hear like that weird, that funky synth music, you know?
Yeah.
I hope it's sort of just like an ode to 50s B-level sci-fi.
I hope it's like Buzz Lightyear Star Command.
I hope maybe it's gotta be like that, but I think from the still that I'm seeing, I think they're gonna do it like where it's like a normal guy. It's a bit more grittier who like comes upon this world, and I hope that world is something like those
Tomorrowland.
Something like Tomorrowland, you know, that neon. I want to bring back that neon with the gray aliens. The gray aliens gotta be in it. Maybe they're gonna be a bit more creepy looking, you know. They're gonna be a bit more realistic. Like, and what is Zurg gonna look like? You know, I don't know, but I hope they keep that grittiness. Like, this movie is fucking ridiculous that it even exists. Absolutely. But hey, I'm curious to say the least. You know.
In Pixar we trust, and this still looks good. Looks very
This
clean.
still looks really good. It looks so high quality. It kind of reminds me of 2001, like the reflections off the helmet, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful, like this aesthetic that they're gonna capture. I don't know if I don't want to say I'm like happy excited. I'm excited. In fact, by the fact I'm just so curious, you know.
hmm I think there was somebody who came up with a theory about it because you see those lights,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you guys know this, but when you go in Space Mountain and you go up the tunnel, yeah,
Oh. So this could be like
eh,
a pseudo Space Mountain movie.
maybe it's possible.
That'd be interesting, actually, to see like a
Um,
Space Mountain movie come to life.
right. And then Disney also announced 2 other movies. Raya the Last Dragon's coming to Disney Plus Premiere. I'm mixed
Interesting.
on that.
Yeah, I
I'm
haven't been hooked by any of the trailers, but I'll watch it.
And then Encanto, their 60th movie, which is a musical starring Lin-Manuel Miranda. I
Now
think.
this looks interesting because it's like taking a lot of Colombian influence in it. So I'm interested to see what Lin-Manuel Miranda will do. Maybe it'll be like I don't want to say like Colombia's Coco because I'm just like, hey, just you do like that for another, you know,
Spanish
Latino country. Like who cares? No, but I'm saying like hopefully that like the sort of the same amount of love and from someone who's actually, you know, experiencing that instead of a white man, Lee Unkrich, you know. But yeah, it looks interesting. I haven't seen much from it, but yeah.
Yeah, looks good. And there are 6 Disney shows or something like that. I don't know. We're not going to talk about all of them. Tiana, I'm happy she's getting her own show instead of being just a frog.
I bet this is only being made because of that backlash that's coming out from Princess of the Frog, where
The
people
ride?
are realizing. No, just the movie. That like
Oh.
people are now realizing like, oh wait, that movie that we praised was like, you know,
Yeah, I know. I get it.
sort of falling into these age-old tropes in depicting African Americans. So
Right. And then there's Iwaju, which is this Pan-African sci-fi narrative that looks really cool. We don't know a bunch about it yet, but if it's anything like original or like Black Panther's world, like on Wakanda, I'm totally in for it. Could care less about the other shows. Anyway, we're got into the 2 big ones.
let's get into the meat, the beefy
Yeah,
stuff.
it's Star Wars and Marvel.
We really care about, yeah.
Who do you want to talk about first?
Let's start with Star Wars.
I think Star Wars is. I think we'll get through Star Wars pretty fast.
So fuck Indiana Jones 5, fuck Willow, fuck the Children of Blood and Bone.
Whoa.
No, I'm joking. I'm looking forward to 2 of those.
I want to say
not Willow.
For Indy 5. Let's make it the Logan of Indy 5 since they got James Mangold back in there. I want it to end the same way. Harrison Ford be just like this fucked up 80-year-old Indiana Jones, like, and I don't know like how they're gonna make Harrison Ford go on these adventures. I don't know.
Have they casted Short Round yet? / will they?
They gotta bring back the original actor. Yeah. That'd be so cool.
Because you know what I was imagining?
Not bringing back Shia LaBeouf, that's for sure.
You know what I was imagining though?
What?
Imagine this: Steven Yeun.
Steven Yeun.
Short Round.
Yeah,
I'd be down for Steven Yeun for Short Round.
But would he be down for?
I don't know if he would.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kicking ass with Minari right now, which I heard is doing great. Anyway, but yeah, I think Indiana Jones 5 is going to be a whole lot of fun. I mean, the Indiana Jones series, like even the bad ones, still kind of fun. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm down. It's kind of like the Pirates movies for me. Even if they're bad, still kind of fun.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm down for it.
Do we care about Willow?
I've never seen Willow. So.
Me neither.
Watch it.
I want to check it out.
It's weird. Children of Blood and Bone looks interesting. Could be cool. It's an original movie.
Bestseller.
Absolutely. But now we get to the Star Wars stuff. Okay. They announced 10 new shows. Well, 9 new shows and 1
and a movie.
And Taika's movie, right?
No, The Mandalorian season 3. And then 2 movies.
Two movies.
Taika's movie and Patty Jenkins' movie.
Right. Yes. Rogue Squadron and whatever Taika's doing.
Does.
But I love the logo that you used for Taika's movie. I hope his movie sort of captures that aesthetic that Star Wars had in like the comic books right after the movie came out. You know,
when
have
they
you
were
seen
the legends now.
it? Yeah, they're legends now, but like it had like this weird funky aesthetic to it, where it's like it was kind of grimy, but also kind of vibrant. You know, I'm curious to see what it'll be like.
Oh.
Mm.
And the Patty Jenkins movie, which is Rogue Squadron.
Yep.
Love Patty Jenkins. I loved her work on Wonder Woman. Didn't she do a bunch of Breaking Bad episodes too, Ethan? Did you know she? I think she worked on Breaking Bad.
I didn't know
That's
that.
how she, hold on.
That's kind of how I reacted when I found out David Fincher worked on the original Star Wars.
Yeah, as like a creative consultant, not a creative consultant.
I think he was like
art guy.
Like he was in the art department. He was like, oh, okay.
No, she didn't do Breaking Bad.
Damn it! What did she do? She did a TV. She did a TV.
She did some TV show. Arrested Development.
Oh yeah, Arrested Development.
Entourage. 5. This is a show called 5. The Killing. Betrayal. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from her Wonder Woman film, this is super exciting. Rogue Squad. We were talking about it right before the podcast. What did you think, Ethan?
I wrote about Patty Jenkins. Remember in our auteurs class where we had to write about a female director. So I did my research paper on her. So I already knew the stuff that she talked about in the promotional video, where she was very close to her father, and her father was a fighter pilot, in the Army.
No way.
Yeah, that sort of stuff like really stuck with her and inspired her to make movies and honestly be involved in like superheroes and stuff like that. She liked Superman because Superman reminded her of her dad and stuff like that, and now she's just like she was offered a project at Lucasfilm, and she wanted to do something like that to honor her father, and I think it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be Top Gun in space, so
hopefully during the original trilogy era, because that'd be really cool.
I would love to see, like, maybe reveal some more battles that they had in between the original trilogy that only the Rogue Squadron went on.
Yeah, that would be
no original cool. Trilogy characters, please.
Yeah, just keep it fresh. Like, geez.
Yeah.
But I think Rogue Squadron's gonna be awesome. Like, I've always thought like the Rebel Alliance and like specifically the X-wing pilots, I just think they're cool. Like, their suits are cool. Their ships they have probably one of, if not my favorite ship design in all of Star Wars. And like, I don't know, it's that sense of community. I can just imagine it between X-wing pilots. I can so imagine they're just really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah, it sounds like a great project, and I'm excited that the person who directed the first Wonder Woman movie, which I adore, is going to be doing it. I think it's going to be great.
She is such a good director.
Out of the TV, we've got Ahsoka, we've got Rangers of the New Republic, we've got the Acolyte, we've got Visions, we've got Andor, and the big one, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. We've known this has been coming for a while. This is my most anticipated of any of the things Disney announced. Any of them. I think this is the most anticipated series for me for a number of reasons, but I've always said this was a good idea. Ever since Disney bought Lucasfilm, I said they need to fill in the gap for Kenobi. Ewan McGregor's the perfect age now for it, to kind of transition him from where you can make him look like the transitionary period between young Ewan McGregor in the Clone Wars and Alec Guinness in the original trilogy. And when they canceled the movie, I was so upset. But now that we get to flesh it out over probably like 6 to 8 hours of television, makes me extremely happy. I just really want to see what they're doing with it.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry anymore about like the television format hindering it by any stretch of the imagination, because we know Disney's gonna fucking bring their A game with it. And yeah, they're gonna kill it, because it's Star Wars. They're gonna play their cards close to their chest on this one, and yeah, it's gonna be great. And of course, there's a lot of buzz about it, and I'm really excited about it, that Hayden Christensen is officially returning as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader.
Yeah,
I am so happy about that.
I don't get like what he's gonna do. Like, is he just gonna be in the suit? And are they gonna get James Earl Jones to do the voice again? Because he was the voice of Darth Vader in Rogue One. Like,
He's still alive.
Like, are they? What I could see them doing is maybe having flashbacks, and that's how they're gonna use Hayden Christensen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because like we know that Obi-Wan and Anakin don't see each other for a very, very long time until that fateful day on the Death Star.
Yeah.
So is it going to be like we're intercutting and we're seeing Darth? Because the thing about Hayden that I loved about him in episode 3 is how intimidating physically he is. He's so tall and so fast and so strong. So I can imagine, like, are they going to pull a Rogue One on us in the sense of, like, are they going to make this guy fucking terrifying and turn Darth Vader into this, like, absolute villain? Or, like, I don't know. What do we, like, I can't imagine, like you said, Ethan, what they're going to do with Hayden.
That's also why I'm nervous. I don't want them to sort of undermine
the Obi-Wan.
That scene in A New Hope with like overshadowing it with like an actually really good choreographed fight. Because let's be honest, the one in New Hope, they didn't know, like, George Lucas didn't know like what lightsaber dueling was gonna be in the future, so they're just like, you know.
Yeah.
And I really don't want them to make like something on par with episode 3 between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, you know. But yeah, I originally was super excited about like the movie and stuff, thinking that they like that Obi-Wan was gonna like fight Darth Maul again and have his final confrontation. But then they've already done it in Rebels. Like maybe they'll recreate the scene. I don't think they want to, but that's sort of what I was really looking forward to with an Obi-Wan show. I would have loved to see their Darth Maul and Obi-Wan's relationship sort of get expanded upon, but now they can't do that. So I'm a little nervous with Obi-Wan to be honest, but Deborah Chow is doing it, and I loved her episodes of The Mandalorian, so I'll watch it. I mean, I won't not watch it. So
yeah.
I mean, if anything, I think one of the best things about this Obi-Wan series is it just flushes out his character more, what was happening in that time period. I don't need every year. I don't need I don't need a time lapse between the, you know, I don't need it to be like separated by years every episode. I just want it to be a little bit more of Obi-Wan, and it's going to be nice. Wouldn't be surprised if Hayden Christensen appears as Darth Vader, meaning he takes off his mask at some point, and I know he needs the mask to live, as we saw in, but I do think he can survive without the mask and like talk, and that's like you're looking at like little appearances here and there, and I don't know why that's going to happen, but that's the only conceivable way I can think of them using him other than like voiceover for his inner thoughts.
Yeah.
You know
I don't know.
mean?
It's going to be confusing.
Yeah.
Well, any TV shows for other than that you guys are excited for?
I think for me, the only ones that I'm like even mildly interested in, I think the Obi-Wan one is the only one that I'm obviously going to be like, oh, I'm watching that thing all the way through, and of course Mandalorian season 3 because I'm invested at this point.
Yeah.
But I am also interested to some extent on Bad Batch because I like the Clone Wars, Ahsoka because I like the Clone Wars and Mandalorian, spoiler, and potentially this one's a little bit like, oh, I don't know, hopefully, Andor. Do we know if they have Diego Luna back?
Yep.
Yes.
He's like a producer of the show too. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I think what is attracting me most to Ahsoka, Andor, and I guess Bad Batch is, I think a lot of these characters we kind of saw, quote unquote, maybe exemption for Ahsoka, in passing. And like Andor, we never really get him as a full dimensional character. We get allusions to who he is, but like we don't know much about him other than he is a member of, you know, the original Rogue Squadron and like, you know, had been involved in the war for ever since he was a kid. Ahsoka, you know, we get to know her throughout the series, and we get a really great story, and it's continued in Mandalorian at least a little bit. So I'd love to see how this goes. And Bad Batch, we saw for 4 episodes in the last season of Clone Wars. So, you know, I'd love to see them. I think they're really fun people, but I don't know if them being badass is enough for me to grasp on to their narrative, you know?
Right.
So
I really hope that show sort of tackles the politics of the fallout of the rise, cool. Like of the Clone Wars and the rise of the Empire. If they show more of that stuff, that'd be sick. And they could show Darth Maul in that show. I bet he'll be back. and sort of maybe show Darth Maul sort of forming the Crimson Tide that we see in Solo. I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember thinking. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, so yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think a lot of these, including Obi-Wan, are like basically taking these characters that, although may not necessarily be as fleshed out in their original versions, just kind of expanding on them.
Hmm.
And I think that's going to breathe new life into these characters, and hopefully in good ways.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the original prequels and hating the politics of it, saying it was the worst part of the movie. Now I think the prequels, the strongest part of the prequels is that political intrigue created by this confrontation between the Jedi Order and the Senate Imperial Sith side of things. Because it's so interesting to see the Emperor kind of manipulate people into doing certain things, manipulating Jar Jar into ceding power, and also the Jedi's terrible like fall from grace, as is going to be covered in my show that I'm really looking forward to, The Acolyte.
Yes. Oh man, I everyone's been clamoring to see the Old Republic somehow represented in Star Wars. You know, I don't think this is going to be exactly the Old Republic. I think the Old Republic is like that thousands of years before Phantom Menace, but this is only just 200. But still, this is going to see the creation of like probably not the dark side, but probably the rule of two. You know, so maybe we'll get Darth Bane in this. Maybe Darth Plagueis. Maybe we'll get a younger Yoda. I'd like to see that, but this
the real baby Yoda.
Yeah, people have been clamoring for like a Game of Thrones for Star Wars. I think this could be it. I don't know.
Maybe, I agree. Yeah. I mean, the only other original trilogy character who could appear other than Yoda is Chewbacca, and he'd be a baby.
No,
baby Chewie!
And now that you said it, it's gonna happen. They're gonna have baby Chewbacca, and that's
baby
gonna
Baka,
be
baby. Hashtag baby Baka.
Baby Baka.
They're gonna call it Baby Chewie. They're just gonna say Baby Chewie. And
it's the I Am Groot series from Marvel.
Nice job, Brandon. You just predicted the next like 5 years of merchandise for Star Wars. There you go.
That's how Yoda knows him in the Revenge of the Sith. You gotta figure.
They were in daycare together.
Yeah.
Good to see you again, Chewie.
But the only other series that I'm really excited for is Visions, that anime short.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Star Wars with an anime style, knowing the Western and samurai influence of the original Star Wars films. Could be very interesting. I don't know what to expect, but I'm excited nonetheless.
All right.
And we've come to the finale. Oh, go ahead.
As the resident weeb, I want to talk about
Visions.
I really hope that I was talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion early in the episode. Hideki Anno, if he does a short, dog, it's over. Like, that's gonna be the coolest thing ever. If they bring on the guys that did Cowboy Bebop, it's over. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited for that. They would never bring in Studio Ghibli to do something Star Wars, but like, imagine, that would be so sick.
Well, now we've come to. Sorry, go ahead, Chris. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, like, I think I was about to do the same. I think I was about to do the same thing as you. Like, is there anything else you guys want to talk about for Star Wars, or do you guys think we're gonna head into our baby?
Yes, the main course of what we want to talk about here.
All right, so Brandon, why don't you lead us off with, with a couple of your favorites?
Chris, we've all had superhero fatigue, I think, over the past year, because Marvel released. Yeah, except for Ethan. We've had so many Marvel movies, and I think the only good thing, and I don't, it's not a good thing that it happened, but it's a good thing that we got this break, is that we got less Marvel, we got less superheroes, and now I feel recharged and refreshed. Marvel announced many series, many movies, and it's kind of like they're mixing the bag for the first time. Like, they're not just making heterogeneous franchises anymore. Everything is colliding through the TV series, through the movies, and yes, it's going to be exhausting to watch over 70 hours of content, but we've got some good stuff here. We've got for Disney Plus, we've got WandaVision this year. We've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, What If, Miss Marvel, and Loki and Hawkeye. Those shows are all coming out next year. I'm most excited for Hawkeye personally, and Miss Marvel, because I think it's really awesome that they're trying to bring more inclusion in the Marvel universe. Miss Marvel's a very interesting character that could help humanize. No offense to Brie Larson, think she's good, but Miss Marvel in the movies so far has been a little less than human, I think, in terms of her like emotional portrayal, and I think this could bring Miss Marvel down to earth, or Captain Marvel down to earth. And Hawkeye has always deserved more representation in the MCU. It's just going to be great to see him get his own show where he can like actually be the star. And I mean, I forgot about one, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I love Captain America, and this is like the follow-up, and the trailer looks amazing. Absolutely awesome. What do you guys think?
All the trailers I thought looked awesome. Loki was the most surprising to me because I can't wait to see what they do with time travel. You know, some people are saying there's some Easter eggs to Brandon and I's one of our favorite villains, Kang the Conqueror. So let's see if they deliver on that. You know, WandaVision looks sick. I can't wait for that. Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah, I mean, I love those characters because of the Russo brothers movies. And Miss Marvel, I'm a little nervous to say the least. Just because I think Miss Marvel is a wonderful character. I think they've written her really well in the comics, but I don't think she's had the best transition into sort of popular like other forms of media. I don't
like the video games.
Oh, like Miss Marvel in that Avengers video game. I've watched sort of gameplay and like the cutscenes, and she just seems super annoying. Like they really play into her being a fanboy and like writing fan fictions, and it's just like it's just cringeworthy to watch someone like that. Like I don't want a character like that in the Marvel movies, you know. And I know that they're gonna do that because they've already revealed that she's like already a mega fan of all Marvel heroes, and they said in an interview that she's gonna write fan fictions and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping that they just like find a way to make that be relatable and not something. Well, this show's not going to be relatable for me. Let's be honest, but I'm still going to support it, you know. And and Hawkeye, I love Matt Fraction's comic. If you haven't read it, it's got amazing art. Kate Bishop is awesome. Pizza Dog. I saw set photos that they got Pizza Dog, so looking forward to that. And I really hope that they do. People have spotted Hawkeye's. This is such a stupid thing to say. They've spotted Hawkeye's hearing aid on the set. It's like, that's such a tiny thing in his ear. How have people spotted that? But people said they spotted it. So if they start to develop Hawkeye as being a deaf character, that would be super cool. Because I know that's like a really huge character and a really huge like revelation about a character for like the disabled community. Like we talked about a lot in my comic books class, and we did like a week on comic books and disabilities, and like they say like we read articles that like more so than Daredevil, Hawkeye has become like sort of like the icon for disabilities in like popular comics. So I want to see if they do that in this show.
Yeah, I think for me, like I'm at least with what Marvel has announced, like most of what has very much interested me are actually their movies, less than their shows. So you know, once we move on to,
do you want to talk about that?
Would it be okay if we move on to movies?
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think just in terms of, there's so much, but like obvious ones, I think that we all can universally agree we're excited for are, and these are like the most urgent ones, are like the most like it's coming out real soon, are Shang-Chi. I'm really excited to see a Asian representation in a Marvel film, because like Black Panther did that for the Black community, and I think, you know, let's get a fucking Asian in there. Why not? Thor, Love and Thunder, huge. Christian Bale as Gore, the God Killer. Like holy shit, Christian Bale in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
What? Like yeah, I'm in. Playing a villain. Like in. I'm so in.
What's the quote from Dark Knight?
Either you die a hero or live long enough to become the villain or something like that. Guardians, both the holiday special and Guardians 3 in 2023. Guardians is the perfect franchise, I think, to give a holiday special. They're so fast. They're definitely the most festive.
It's gonna be like Peter Quill teaching it like space aliens about Christmas or something like that.
And then they're like, "Who's Jesus?" He's like, "I don't."
What if Peter doesn't know?
Yes, he does. He made a joke about it.
Yeah.
He made that reference.
But, Black Panther 2, they did announce that they have fully decided they will not recast Chadwick Boseman, which thank God. Yeah, and like I'm excited, and he did articulate. Yeah, I want to get into that in a minute, but they did say like Black Panther 2, it's gonna be like they're gonna continue this colorful and very vibrant world that Ryan Coogler brought in that first film, and you know it's gonna be huge, and like I'm excited to see. I bet it's gonna be a Shuri and Okoye oriented film, and M'Baku. I'm sure M'Baku will come back.
Oh,
I really hope
Winston would be great.
I also think. Do you think Daniel Kaluuya will make a reappearance? Because he didn't appear in anything other than Black Panther, so maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like Coogler can bring him back. So. And do you think? I've heard some reports that Michael B. Jordan might somehow return, but I feel like in a cameo, like in a spirit realm thing. I don't know if I want it either.
They've brought back so many people, and his death meant so much in Black Panther. You know, that
it was symbolic.
Like stay dead. Yeah.
Another before we get to the whole multiverse thing, that I just want to quickly announce, like I'm the one announcing it. I just want to quickly mention John Watts directing Fantastic Four.
Boom.
Yes.
They're home.
They're coming home. Marvel's first family. Like, please, let's get it right this time. Doom deserves a great. I don't know. All of them plus Doom deserves a great film.
I don't want Doom in this movie.
I don't want him either. That's the thing. I want him in an Avengers movie.
Build him up. I want him to be the next Thanos. You know.
I would be okay if they tease Doom in this movie.
Maybe a tease like what they did for Thanos in the first Avengers.
Yeah, like. You know
he looks into the camera the same way Thanos.
What's the name of the country that he rules over?
Latveria.
It'd be cool if we get like, I don't know, a Latveria mention or oh, have you heard about Victor Von Doom? Or I don't know, it's like
Wakanda and Avengers.
Yeah, it's like Wakanada Latveria. It's like they're getting their goods out of Latveria. What is in Latveria? Crazy Doom. Motherfucker. Doom. Doom. Okay, let's open up the floodgates. Let's start with Ant-Man Quantumania.
Ooh. Okay.
Implications for the entire Marvel universe are at stake right there.
Yeah, I think they're introducing their next big bad here. I gotta say, when they announced Ant-Man and the Wasp, I gotta say I was over the moon when they announced that, because I didn't know that they were going to make another Ant-Man movie after the first one just because of its box office performance. I thought they were going to go the way of the Incredible Hulk, you know? Just be like a one and done Ant-Man. But then I was like, they're actually making a franchise out of this, holy shit. So I wasn't as excited when I heard this because there had been rumblings, you know? But the title, it sounds more like a theme park ride than an actual movie, the title.
Shut up.
Quantumania, but
sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad title. I think it's fun. Like I don't know how they could have progressed the Ant-Man and the Wasp because it's subtitles, you know. But Quantumania, fun. They're gonna explore that little city that you saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know, in the quantum realm, and I bet that's where Kang's gonna be from. They probably will sort of mix the storyline of Kang as a time traveler with like, I bet they're gonna have some of the Living Eraser added to Kang. You know, they probably won't have that be two separate characters, but sort of combine them, because like the Living Eraser was this character who lived in like a quantum world like that and who traveled dimensions for conquering. But they're gonna do that with Kang, and now that they said it that the quantum realm is like the gateway for time travel, you know, that's how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And they recasted Cassie Lang, so stature is probably gonna be a big part of this movie.
Yeah. I also think this is a very random little thing that I love about the Ant-Man franchise so far, and it's literally just their titles.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So is the fourth one going to be called like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Clown Fiesta or something
Clown
like that?
Fiesta. You called
Like,
it. You just predicted it.
Well, Chris, since you mentioned
yes.
this is like my most anticipated Marvel
Mhm.
movie. Growing up, I didn't know who Ant-Man was until I watched, or until I read the old Avengers comic books, and then watched Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes, which is
Ooh,
an amazing cartoon.
peak Marvel.
You need to. It's on Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
watch it.
It's on Disney Plus. They do the Secret Wars storyline and they do the Kang storyline, and both of them are amazing. Kang's backstory. Is he going to be blue in this? I really hope Jonathan Majors is going to be blue in this.
The good old Yondu treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because that iconic look can translate so well to the big screen, I think.
Well, it's always been like a face mask in the comics. They alternate. They usually like, yeah, this is a blue guy, but then sometimes he's the son of Reed Richards and he's just wearing a blue mask. So that's making me think that like, what if they do the son of Reed Richards approach and they sort of have
it's possible.
They have a black Reed Richards in the MCU and that'd be fucking awesome. I know people have been saying John David Washington as Reed Richards.
Holy shit, that'd be dope.
That would be perfect. I would be so down for that.
He is the protagonist.
He really is the protagonist.
I'm just over the moon because Kang was one of my favorite villains growing up in the comics. He brought the time travel into it even before Thanos did. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I'm so excited for this. It could mean many things. This is obviously, I don't know if it's going to wrap up the quantum multiverse stuff that we're going to get into briefly with a few other projects, or if it's going to just expand it exponentially. But this has so much potential. And if it's anything like Ant-Man and the Wasp mixed with the Endgame stuff that we got, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the not really the final thing to talk about is this whole fucking dimension that's opening with the mixing between WandaVision, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man 3. And Loki.
Maybe Loki.
Potentially Loki.
They said
they go
the
that way.
main three was going to be WandaVision leads into Spider-Man 3, which leads into Doctor Strange 2. And this is going to be the big our next like little arc, I guess, in the MCU is this multiverse madness. You want to break it down for us, Chris?
Yeah. So basically, the earliest thing that we're gonna get in this quote unquote mini storyline, I suppose, is WandaVision, which no one really exactly knows what this movie's actually about because it's a very like trippy film or like series, as you can tell by the trailers. What we do know for a fact is that in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, which is being directed by Sam Raimi, Wanda plays a big role in that. She is like a genuine side character in this story. Now, that is important because Doctor Strange is also I believe Doctor Strange also plays a big role in the Spider-Man 3 thing. That's because the word multiverse, which is most often attributed to the quote-unquote Spider-Verse stories. As we all know, both Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx have been confirmed to return as Doc Ock and Electro, respectively. There's also been a lot of rumors floating around about Kirsten Dunst, Emma Stone, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Willem Dafoe, and Thomas Hayden Church, who played Sandman, to return as well. I don't know if there's as very much credibility to those ones as the others, but it's really interesting to see the implications that this has. Because now what this means to us is not only are there at least 2 other Spider-Man universes they can tap into, but for all we know, right? Yeah. I think this is the exciting thing. Kind of exciting. Say Phase 6 comes around. They decide to launch the X-Men.
Yeah.
We could get into a world where we see James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender return as Professor X and Magneto, given if they go approach it from this multiverse multiverse perspective.
Just like the comics.
Yeah, I guess, and I think the most exciting thing about that is like the main thing, like of course the Spider-Verse thing is going to be really exciting. everyone loves the Spider-Verse movie, like the animated movie. And, basically, I think the thing that's most exciting is that the flood doors open because of this. We know there's so many possibilities going forward here that were unthinkable at a time, like not all that long ago. Like, one thing that always makes me interested about with Marvel is like when I was watching Endgame, you remember that bit in the okay, spoilers for Endgame. When
year and a half later.
We sort of spoiled Endgame with just this whole announcement slate.
Yeah. But like there's the bit where Spider-Man wearing a suit that Tony Stark made for him, swinging on Thor's hammer, which was thrown by Captain America during a war with Thanos on Earth.
Yeah.
Tell me that in 2008, I would call you fucking crazy. So, is this the next big step that Marvel's going to take in terms of their scope and scale?
Is now bringing in Andrew and Toby as like this big mass celebration of live action Spider-Man? I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that their inclusions are only going to be cameos, which to me, that sounds good. Like, not really. They're going to be glorified cameos. Like, they're going to have a bigger presence in the third act as opposed to the rest of the film. Which that's good. I want to focus more on Tom Holland and him dealing. I think it's going to be him dealing with like the Sinister Six that sort of appeared out of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And that wants to go after Spider-Man. And then at the end of the film, other Spider-Man come. What if they bring in like more What if they bring in like the Japanese Spider-Man?
What if they bring in the Spider-Verse like Spider-Ham and all them?
Oh God, I don't know if I want to see that cross in animation. I don't know how they could pull that off.
Especially in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Plus, I bet they have plans for Miles Morales. Like,
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, we know that Aaron Davis exists because it's not Chadwick. What? It's Don Glover playing Aaron Davis in that world at least. Yeah. And he has been acknowledged as the Prowler because we see in this little thing.
Oh yeah. But who's to say that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire won't appear in Sam Raimi's film, Yeah, maybe
that's
they're
true.
just building up to that, and people would go insane if Sam Raimi was able to direct Tobey Maguire again in an MCU movie.
Yeah.
That caused chaos.
Yeah, and it's also just like, okay, this is a very small little wish list that I have for that. I don't want to go in with any expectations because this movie will mean a lot to me as a lifelong Spider-Man fan. But
this may be your favorite movie.
This could really go up there. I'm trying not to get us ahead of myself because I don't want to give it the Star is Born treatment.
Don't do it.
But I'm really like what I would give, right, for the Sinister Six to be beating the shit out of Tom Holland and then out of nowhere hold on out of nowhere, like, we see two silhouettes in like the smoke. We have, I don't know if they would intercut it or something, but for Toby, we have Danny Elfman's theme playing. And for Andrew Garfield, we have James Horner's theme playing. Because they have access to that now because they own the properties.
Yeah. They got the Michael Giacchino theme playing.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, it'd be so cool to just like I would love a shot of like a nice dolly in or something of like Toby, and he takes off his mask and the music just hits right there. And I don't know, I think that will bring me to tears if that happens.
A portal scene, but consisting only of Spider-Man.
Like, Brandon, it would be my Captain America hammer moment for me. Yeah, if that happens.
It's pizza time.
It's pizza time. Dun, dun, dun,
and he puts on the moped helmet as well.
How'd you do that?
I'm not the biggest Spider-Man fan, but I told Chris, this movie is so exciting. I love crossovers. One of my favorite things growing up was watching crossover movies and television shows. Seeing those Disney Channel shows interact, like Sweet Life of Hannah Montana on Deck or something like that. Like, stuff like that is crazy to me. Just because, like, you're mixing universes and stories that weren't meant to be together. And there's something so cool about that. And I'm worried about the movie being overstuffed because Spider-Man has a problem with that, because even though I don't like Spider-Man, I acknowledge he's got the best villains ever. Electro,
he has some great villains.
Vulture, Doc Ock. There are so many good Spider-Man villains, and I'm worried that they're gonna smashed too much in, and I don't know how this movie's gonna work. I'm excited for it. I think Marvel's up to the task. I hope this movie's 3 hours long, like Endgame, because I do think it's the thing I really do like about the MCU is like every individual installment's like it is like an issue of a comic book story, and then once you put them all together, like phases 1 through 3 of the MCU make up the Infinity storyline from the comic books, right?
Yeah.
And that is a book, so those issues add up to make a book. Now I hope they do smaller books, they add the TV shows together, like the issues, and then they make us like a multiverse book sort of thing. And I think that could be interesting. And like I think that's what this phase is about establishing. It's about establishing that multiple characters can come from multiple universes, and that's so cool. I know we didn't mention Eternals or the
Black Widow,
other
Eternals.
Eternals.
They didn't really. They just said they're still coming out in theaters.
We're excited. Secret Invasion, She-Hulk,
I'm Groot.
Armor Wars. Excited.
I gotta say, rumor has it that Charlie Cox has been spotted on the set of Spider-Man 3 and playing Matt Murdock, Daredevil, as Spider-Man's lawyer in the beginning of the film. And people have said that character might continue on into She-Hulk. Because if you read, they put out a synopsis for She-Hulk. I'm super excited for She-Hulk, by the way. It's going to be dealing with superhero-related court cases, which I think is going to be super interesting. And will she be taking on Matt Murdock in court? I don't know, but we'll see. The Abomination's coming back. With
Tim Roth is back.
Please bring back the leader. They set up the leader so well in Incredible Hulk. Tim Blake Nelson. Care for some gopher. Bring back the leader. I want him with his giant head to like levitate a gopher and be like, care for some gopher.
Right.
But and then you also said that like phase 4 is going to be like these mini arcs. Then they have this little secret invasion arc going on with the Samuel L. Jackson show and then Captain Marvel 2. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. We don't know that much. So, hey, the future is hopeful. We don't. Ooh, so much stuff. I don't know what to do with myself. Guess I'm just gonna sit on the couch. Do you think that like after starting with WandaVision, do you think we'll be getting an MCU show every single Friday for the rest of our lives, or for the foreseeable future?
Oh fuck!
I know you're
just realize that's surprisingly
like
likely.
That? Like, because Falcon the Winter Soldier will be in March, and how long has Mandalorian lasted? A month and a half, right? So WandaVision could go half of January, all throughout February, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier just picks up the next week after that, and then that will go into May, and then Loki will just pick up after that, and then that'll go into What If. And then Hawkeye, and then Miss Marvel, and then She-Hulk, and then And
so basically, Friday night is gonna become the world's MCU night.
Well, hey, Mando drops in 4 minutes, guys. So
we better wrap this up.
We got to wrap this up.
Chris, any last things you want to say before I close out the pod?
I think we're all good. Like the future is hopeful for Disney. They're killing it. Actually, no, they're failing. But yeah, I mean Disney's doing great, and whether or not you're happy about it,
sorry,
suck my cock.
Oh, okay.
I want to say sorry to my friend Harrison, who doesn't like Star Wars and Marvel and thinks it's fucking annoying when we talk about it. So sorry, buddy.
This isn't for him.
You picked the wrong things to not like.
Well,
all I can say.
Dumbass.
Well, that ran a little long, but thank you for joining us on our first episode of Stacked After Hours. We had a really good time. We hope we can do more of these in the future. Obviously, not all of them are going to be this length, but we just wanted to share more entertainment that we like. And hopefully, down the line, we're going to be producing more content like Disney. And you're going to be stuck with us for every Friday night for the rest of your life. Anyway,
let's get some more editors first, huh? Come on, let's not pile all this onto my plate.
No. Ethan, you are the brains behind it. No one can edit but you.
No one can edit like you. Anyway,
well, this is the rest of my life now, I guess.
All right, boys.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining,
Peace.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.